Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Duchess of Unicorn, the DOU. This is our YouTube channel, and I thank you so much for being here. So, today is something I wanted to do for a while. It's a video kind of circulating around some crazy ideas that royals do have stand-ins, they have clones, and I got to thinking, with all this Megan stuff and all this things that are going on right now, people coming looking for people who are not, let's say, authentic, and then being arrested like Oprah Winfrey, Hillary, Bill, aren't aware of all these supposed arrests and all these detainments, these jail sentences, indictments, first and foremost, then leave a comment in the description box so that I can address that, or any member of this community. So let's keep up the positive right. So if you haven't heard already, I am partnering with Vitamin Vape. The links are in the description box, and it is simply a vitamin B12 vaporizer, an inhaler, excuse me. So instead of vaping nicotine and all that crap, you can actually vape your vitamins. So it's pretty amazing. Check the link out when you have a chance. Okay, let's go over to some photos just randomly. I saved a bunch to go over with you. Now, this particular video, again, my thoughts are that it's going to be 10, 12 minutes. I really don't like to go over that, but sometimes I do. So let's get into Harry and his wonderful features. So this is Harry quite a few years ago, and you can see it's a head-on, but you can see his ears head-on kind of pop out a little bit. So that's the first thing we should notice. And that, he has this lobe here, and it's not too thick, the lobe, but it's just something to kind of try to put in to your memory. It's like a memory game, right? I notice his nose kind of points down head on into a V, so that's another thing. And his nose is pretty wide, and it does go into a V. And here he has very piercing blue eyes. No mistaking, they're very piercing. Let's see other videos. Pictures. Now, that one was obviously he was a little older, younger, and this is a little older. But keep in mind, ears change slightly, but they don't completely change their formation completely. They stay basically the same. So if your ears look this way today, probability 10 years ago they looked the same. Maybe 30, 40 years ago, they were a little smaller because you were younger. As we age, things get a little bit larger. As they say, the nose gets larger and such on and so forth. So you can look that information up on your own. But that's kind of got me thinking about Prince Harry, because are there clones? Are there reproduction stand-ins, if you will, for royalty, especially for royalty? When they have a royal baby, when they take blood samples, what do they do with that blood? I'm sure they don't just toss it in the sharps bin like they do with the common folk, because that would be too easily accessible for somebody else to come along and take DNA. I'm just imagining and using my crazy thought processes. So, what do they do with blood samples? Or do they purposely store their blood so that they can keep their lineage strong and going forward? That would make sense to me. If you ever read up on royalty, it's not just like, oh, look, baby's born, yay, let's have another prince or princess. There's always a protocol, there's always some science behind it to ensure that the legacy continues. And of course, the monarchy continues. That's what it's supposed to do. It's like, really, like a cancer intends to live and nothing is supposed to stop it. Okay. In theory, that's how I think of bloodline. So here we have, just looking at Prince Harry very close up, you can start to see that he has a very, it's not unusually looking shaped ear, but it doesn't have a big lobe. It's definitely got this really sharp kind of turn with this divot here, and I call these steps. Just a layman's term, it's my own. He has these ears that step 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4, but actually to me, these are the ideas I have with steps. And obviously he has super thin ears because you can see the light shining through in the sun through his ears and illuminating his inner ear. Well, not his inner ear, but the inside of his ear. And those piercing blue eyes are not as piercing. And since he's sideways, we can't really look at the shape of his nose definitively. Okay, let's continue on just random. Here he is again. You can see he's got the steps 1, 2, 3, or you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's very deep in there with a definitive line that goes down. It's pretty deep there. But that's what I look for when I look at photos of him. I look for these steps. It's really, if you ever see his ears sideways, they're very, I dare to say, reptilian like. Not that reptilians have ears that you can see, but how they're kind of chiseled, very particularly chiseled. They're here, here. So let's look again, and you can see his nose does take a downward arrow. Okay, let's look at other photos here. Now it's good to see his brother here because you can see his brother has a totally different ear, but it still has those steps that are kind of crisp. That 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3. And I noticed with his brother, his ear is like sharply defined. We'll always be able to know Prince William by this sharp, straight line right here. But moving on to Prince Harry in this small opening. Looking on to Prince Harry again, we see that he has this little bump here, a little bump here. That's a good way to identify him, but those can be removed. But you can see his ear has that kind of scaling. I think it's kind of reptilian-ish in a way, but everybody has their own description. But 1, 2, 3, there's those steps. 4, 1, 2, 3. However you look at it, I always think about starting here since this is so sharp. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Another thing you can notice about this particular Harry is that I notice that the skin pulls back here. It's very taut. I'm not sure why it's so taut. I'm not sure why. Maybe someone has, some kind of scientific answer for that. But right here, if you can see, it's got these lines like it's pulled back really taut. And then what we see here is like there's like a little bit of shadow or discoloring in this area, right? Doesn't it look like that? So I wonder about that myself, but his brother has it as well. If you look really closely, and they both have the aging, the crow's feet that they never say guys have, but yeah. Okay, let's look at another photo of Prince Harry. You can see the skin that I was telling you about that's really pulled, seems to be pulled taut. It just is for some reason taut there. Or some might think it was loose, but for me it looks like it's kind of, pulling. Let me know in the comments what you think. And here's the definitive steps in his ears. I start here, but somebody else might want to start here. But 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're just really, and if you see a side shot into his ear, you can see that this is kind of like a deep alien tunnel, like the way that it's really super sharp. And there are that's that little mark that he has, and he has one somewhere over here. But his eyes look a little bit different to me. But this could be because we're looking kind of not head on and not exactly from the side either. So let's see another one. Now here's his father, And, you know, this ear looks more indicative to me of Prince William, where it's really long and has a lot of lobe. Here's Prince Harry's ear in the side, and you can definitely recognize him. Here's a very sharp point. One, here's those stairs. Top, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see that he has this deep line right here. Everybody's ears are different, but he has a very deep line and his ears are sticking forward. Let's see if we have another one. You can't really see, but his nose does go to more of an arrow point. And he has a little knob there, little horns. Here you see Prince Harry again, his ear. It's got that whole look. If you just study it, it's 1, 2, 3. It's very not much lobe, and it's a deep, deep well. But again, he's not quite exactly on the side. We're looking at him sort of on the side. Let's go through some more if we can speed it up. Not that one. Let's take that one away. Here's another side. Now, to me, this looks a little different. But do you see what I mean about these crevices in his ear? They almost look reptilian-like. That's the best word I could come up with, but surely I don't mean he looks like a snake, but or a lizard, but I'm just saying he's got these very, very interesting. And then right here, this well seems to be a little bit different. And it goes up to a point here, and then it's in here. Just see what I'm saying? Very interesting. Let's get away with this one. Let's take this one away so we know. Let's take this one away. Let's take this one away. And you can kind of see his ear again. And the well stops really deep there. Again, his eyes look softened, but unhappy. This is a good photo of his ear, of what I'm indicative of what I mean. Here's his ears in a couple of different pictures. I found this online. This is not my photo, of course. It's just found online. You can see your ears change from a baby to a teen to a grown man, but they don't change terribly. He still doesn't have a big lobe. Still looking like that step there, but his hair is over his ears, so we really can't see. Here's Prince Harry as a boy, and you can kind of see the V here. Now, I think it's important to talk about features and really study them, especially if you're in fandom or if you are someone who follows the royals or follows anything that's said about the royals, that's reported about the royals, because you want to be informed and you want to think about the truth, not just make your own answers up about the truth, but look into it. His ears head on, can't really see that great. There's the piercing blue. We're gonna go ahead and try to close them. Let's see if we can, did I miss one? Again, I spoke a few minutes about stand-ins or clones. In this case, this is, I think it's Casey Warner. I'm not sure. I have to get his name. It'll be in the description box. But he obviously is a football player. And basically, he could be a good stand-in for Prince Harry. These ears, different, aren't they? Okay. But he could be a stand-in if they let his hair grow a little, curled it up a little bit. He's got the receding hairline, put a little makeup on him, get him a little bit more red. You know, maybe they could use some prosthetic pieces on him that make like a little bit of a mask and kind of get that bump out a little bit. But he has a wider bridge for sure. But he has the V. The lips are similar, but he'd have to grow that mustache completely perfectly, touching the over part of his top lip. And then he'd have to have his beard, like Prince Harry's, start and fill in completely in here. All stuff that can be done completely and wholly as a makeup artist or as someone who does like prosthetic masks or anything like that. So that's an interesting photo. Here's another photo of Prince Harry's side, but going by the side, you can see the steps in his ears that I spoke about, and kind of think that this is a great way to tell it's Prince Harry. I love how he's been standing in some type of rain and he's kind of got that water falling off his eyebrow and it's trickling down right there. But look at his ears. Looks like he's a little annoyed or cold because he's totally red. But look at his ear. I want you just to study his ear. That way, in the future, when I do another video, if I do another video on his features and cloning and stand-ins and how to differentiate, ways that we can really differentiate if it really is Prince Harry, like say in a virtual video, a video where he's doing a virtual speech, etc., etc., we can actually kind of hone in on the stand-in or the real. And you notice here his nose is still pointed like in an arrow shape. However, it seems it's a little bit thinner. But of course, we're looking at the side profile. But you see his beard is always filled here. It's a little thinning here, but he's got that filled in. And I didn't notice that he had a black wedding band, which I think is different from at one time he had a gold one. So apparently he doesn't really believe in the whole blessed ring thing and has replaced the ring with this thing. So, but that's fine. I just thought we should notice that because at first he had a gold ring, and this ring to me looks like a lug nut or something like that. I don't know, a nut of some sort. Finish with this